From the Bay Area, California, on any other day at Live Oak High School in Morgan Hill, Daniel and his 4 friends would not even be noticed for wearing T-shirts with the American flag on them. But Cinco de Mayo is not any typical day on this campus. Gally says he and his friends were sitting at a table during brunch break. When brunch break? Well, there's problem number 1. Brunch break. When the vice principal asked 2 of the boys to remove their American flag bandanas and that they were wearing on their heads, and for others to turn their American flag T-shirts inside out. When they refused, the boys were ordered to go to the principal's office. They said we could wear it on any other day, but today was sensitive to Mexican Americans. Why would it be sensitive to Mexican Americans, the American flag? If you're a Mexican American, you wouldn't have a problem with the American flag, would you?
Wouldn't think so.
But it was offensive to Mexican Americans because it is their holiday. Excuse me? Then maybe Mexicans should celebrate Cinco de Mayo in Mexico, because technically it is their holiday. It is their 4th of July. Our 4th of July in America happens on the 4th of July. Do they celebrate the 4th of July and ask their students in Mexico to remove Mexican shirts? The boys said the administrators called their shirts incendiary, the American flag. They said if we tried to go back to class with our American T-shirts not taken off, it would be defiance and we would get suspended. The boys saw really no choice. They went home to avoid suspension. They say they are angry that they weren't allowed to express their American pride. How about freedom of speech? How about the damn American flag? Their parents are upset, calling what happened to their children total nonsense. Excuse me. Should we elevate total nonsense maybe just a bit? Do you think it's a little more as a parent than total nonsense? A little more as a parent than total nonsense? It's absolutely ridiculous, said one of the mothers. All they were doing was displaying their patriotic nature. They're expressing their individuality. But to many Mexican American students at Live Oak, this was a big deal. They said they were offended by the 5 boys and others for wearing American colors in America on a Mexican holiday, end quote. I think they should apologize, says one Live Oak student. It's a Mexican Heritage Day. We don't deserve to be disrespected like that. As for the apologies, the families say fat chance. I'm not going to explode. I'm not going to apologize. I did nothing wrong. I'm going to explode. I went along with my normal day, said one of the students. I might have worn an American flag, but I'm an American, and I'm proud to be an American. The 5 boys and their families met with the Morgan Hill Unified School District. The district released a statement saying it does not agree with how Live Oak school administrators handled the incident. As for the boys, they will not be suspended, and they will be going back to school later today. They may even wear their red, white, and blue colors again. But there won't be any controversy because today is not a Mexican holiday.
You imagine being sent home for wearing an American flag on St. Patrick's Day? I can't fathom it. I can't. How did we get to this point?
You know how we got to this point. Again, the story comes from the Bay Area. I mean, you know, we love immigrants in America. We're not France. We're not France. We're not Germany. We're not England. We're America. We were built by immigrants. But immigrants that want to be here because they want to be Americans. We've gone from a country that people used to, they loved it so much, they wanted to blend in so much, they would change their name from Jorge to George. They would change their name so they would sound more American. Now, I don't think we need to change people's names. But I don't think that we should be celebrating Mexican holidays at the expense of America. We used to be something called a melting pot. Melt in! You don't melt in by being offended by people who are wearing the American flag. If you want to be an American, it's your flag now, too. Not the Mexican flag. You want Mexico? Go back to Mexico. You want Germany? Go back to Germany. You want Sweden? Go back to Sweden. Canada? Go back to Canada. You know, it's amazing. I can't tell you how many times I have thought about an interview that I did, I don't know how many years ago now. Probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I was sitting in a restaurant in New Orleans. How long ago was Katrina? 4 years? Five? Five. So this must have been 6. Jeez, I don't even remember now. Years ago, I did an interview with an LA Times reporter that was trying to figure out, and he was trying to be honest, I think. He said, conservatives just have this love for the founders, and they have the love for the, George Washington and the Constitution and everything else. Why is that? And he was really trying to figure it out. Why is it you people are like that? I didn't know. I didn't really know. I don't even remember what I said in the interview. I know now. Because of progressivism. Progressives have erased the history of this country up until the last 100 years. And the last 100 years, the progressives have been all about, let's be more like Europe. Let's just be all like the rest of the world. Well, we're not like the rest of the world. If we're like the rest of the world, then how come people aren't swimming and jumping and trying to get in any way they can into Hugo Chavez, Venezuela? How come people aren't beating down a path? How come you don't have to have people stationed on the border trying to get into France? How come you have people leaving everything from every country in the world to get here? Why not just go to Zimbabwe? If we're like every other country in the world, go there. They've erased everything. And we must restore it. May I ask, while you still have the opportunity, get your children out of these schools. Get your kids out of the schools if you can, if there's any way. Downsize your life if you can afford to do it. Readjust your priorities. Get your kids out of these schools. Teach them the truth. Don't think that you can't do it. You can do it. I knew nothing about history. Nothing about history. 15 years ago. I knew nothing about the progressive movement 3 years ago. You can do it. The lie of the unions, the lies of the progressive is you can't do it unless you have a degree to teach. Bull crap. Abraham Lincoln was taught how to read by his mother. His father thought he was stupid. His father didn't want him to read. His mother did it. And Abraham Lincoln and his mother created Abraham Lincoln.